like to welcome you to the Harley-Davidson Museum. We have a 20-acre campus here. It's really the kind of place that you want to spend the day because we have the largest collection of unrestored Harley-Davidson motorcycles, maybe the largest collection of Harley-Davidson motorcycles anywhere in the world. You're going to see motorcycles almost kind of as far as the eye can see. Many of the bikes that are in this collection, this is the only place in the world that you can see these bikes. Harley-Davidson wanted the museum in the city limits of Milwaukee because Milwaukee has always been our home. The company was born just about 4 miles from here, and there's no place that we would rather be. Well, when guests come here to the site, one of the first things they're going to see, especially in the summer season, is motorcycles parked out front, and we often tell people that sometimes the exhibits are in the parking lot. People are drawn to the museum, not only lifelong riders of motorcycles, but we've also found that non-riders like to come here too because the word is out that there's a lot of context here. It's about Harley's place in American history, and it's about the culture of motorcycling. Chronologically, the beginning of Harley-Davidson, it's where the company started, and the motorcycle that you can see we call serial number 1, and we believe that's the oldest Harley-Davidson motorcycle in existence. A lot of other bikes like this here where you can kind of see the evolution of motorcycles through the 20th century. It's like a long road of motorcycles. Even for enthusiasts, it's sort of like Darwin's ascent of man because the bikes start out looking so different than what we think of as a Harley today. Kind of very basic spindly bikes with not a lot of the creature comforts that you expect on a modern motorcycle like shock absorbers. To the side of the road gallery on the mezzanine level are galleries that you can walk into, kind of more enclosed spaces, a little bit more of an intimate feel, and they kind of follow a chronology of the history of Harley. All of it includes contextual history of America, history of the world, really. Harley in its history actually has faced a couple of really difficult periods, but the company itself stepped up, but then more specifically the riders stuck with Harley. And that's the key thing because this museum is really much more about the riders than it is about the company because they made the Harley name what it is. One of the things that visitors see here is our tank wall, as we call it, and these are gas tanks. They're reproductions of vintage gas tanks going back to 1933. That's the period in which both you have that very iconic shape of a motorcycle gas tank, but the beginning of these explosions of color. Some people will even pull me aside and say, you know, this was my first bike. And that's one of the kind of moments in which people have that personal connection to Harley history. We also have the racing gallery. It's a very striking gallery. When you walk in, you see this replica section of board track. And board tracks were a very lesser known aspect of motorsports in the first couple of decades of the 20th century, where the entire racetrack is made out of wood. This was a very dangerous form of racing. On permanent display is, among other things, Elvis Presley's 1956 Harley-Davidson KH model. And it's only the second bike that Elvis ever owned, and it was actually purchased just before his career really took off. They can see replicas from the movie Easy Rider. Very iconic. These are beautifully done motorcycles, and people recognize those immediately. There really is something for everybody because it's a story of survival and success. It's a story of really customers making a name what it is, and I think not every company can say that. We like that when so many people walk away saying that they found something new about Harley. They're now a little bit closer to Harley than they were before.